It is to India now, and the country is the world's third largest greenhouse gas emitter after China and the United States. But it's looking to change that by increasing efforts to boost its non-fossil capacity, namely solar and wind energy, as well as nuclear and hydro and biopower. It wants to reach 500 gigawatt capacity by 2030. Now, this would raise its share of non-fossil energy from the current just under 43% up to 50%. Coal at the moment accounts for over half of India's power generation capacity. Hydropower accounts for 13%. Wind and solar together make up 25%. And to help to reach that goal, India's government is issuing tenders it hopes will encourage the installation of renewable energy sources. Earlier, I spoke to our correspondent in Delhi, Charu Kartikeya, and I asked him how India wants to split up this planned capacity among the different ways of generating green energy.
Well, Chris, what we know so far is that at least 10 gigawatts of this is going to be wind power capacity per year. The rest of it could be solar or a solar-wind hybrid kind of a model. What is significant is that this will mark a break from the past. India has so far never been able to bid out more than 15 gigawatts per year. So taking that up to 50 per year, that's a big jump.
Now, India missed its target to install 175 gigawatt in renewable energy capacity by this year. Why should the country be more successful in trying to reach the current goal?
Well, you know, Chris, India is pretty conscious of the fact that it is known as the world's third largest emitter of greenhouse gases, and it wants to reach net zero by 2070. It has already pledged that, it has already promised that target. But the problem is that the country is in a tight spot because of its ever-growing power demand. 1.4 billion people now leaving the pandemic behind. So, and at least in northern parts of the country, there are long summer heat waves and colder than expected winters. So all of this is perpetuating the problem and pushing the power demand every year up. So how to keep up with this and to prevent power cuts, that's the challenge.
Charu, all of this comes as India's power output, in order to satisfy this hunger for energy, is growing at its fastest pace in more than 3 decades, and it's mainly fueled by coal.
Well, right, Chris, that unfortunately is the sad part. Coal is still the biggest part of India's energy mix. Currently, it is believed to be more than 70%. And so India is conscious of the fact that there's a heavy responsibility on its shoulders to say goodbye to coal eventually and to bring down its emissions. The silver lining, however, is that renewable power is also growing. According to one report, the renewable energy capacity, excluding big hydro and nuclear power, right now exceeds 122 gigawatts. So the goodbye to coal is a sort of a long-term process. But right now, that does remain a challenge, Chris.
Charu Kartikeya in Delhi. Charu, as always, thank you. So the Indian government wants to massively support the extension of solar power, but even on a small scale, there are hurdles. Take a look.
Shail Vani is a financial consultant who now works from home, which means his electricity use has spiked. He tried to set up solar panels on his roof to lower his carbon footprint, but ran into a problem.
Living in a city like Mumbai, right, you really understand that the rooftop is like a communal space. It's a shared space. It's not like the other cities where you have your own house, your own rooftop that you can, use or control. So getting access to the rooftop to set up a solar panel, who owns that electricity? Because that electricity certainly can't be claimed by only me.
This is one big problem several renters and homeowners in crowded cities like Mumbai are facing, and it accounts for a large gap between the country's ambition for rooftop solar generation and the reality on the ground. India's target was to produce around 40 gigawatts of energy from rooftop solar generation by 2023. So far, only 8 gigawatts have been generated. Other factors holding it back are a lack of standardization in solar policies and practical financial support for solar installations. But there are now a few startups in India working to bridge these gaps, like Peri Urja, that has raised private investment to install low-cost solar panels for residential communities. So far, they have set up solar panels for 100 residential complexes in Mumbai, Pune and Nashik. Their model involves a long-term leasing contract and financial support. Eventually, the communities will own the panels.
So with us, the tariff is fixed for 15 years. That is one benefit. Second, it is immediately at day zero, it is 50% of your cost. And three, it is free when you set it up. At the end of 15 years, the plant is transferred to the consumer free of cost.
They are working with a Bangalore-based technology startup called Sunday Grids, also attempting to make solar energy more accessible and affordable by going digital.
Is it possible for us to basically decouple both the problems of wanting to go solar on one side and having a physical installation? Does it necessarily have to happen on your own rooftops?
It sounds novel, but it's similar to a credit trade scheme. How it works is, Sunday Grids rents grids like those belonging to the residential solar project from Peri Urja. The units of energy produced here are marked as solar credits and can then be traded on their platform. Customers can invest in the panels monthly and reserve units of solar credit. And this platform was exactly what Shailwani was looking for.